this is kind of, I don't know how this is going to come off, but they had this show on Sci-Fi called Do You Want to Be a Superhero? And they had this, it basically is, I don't know if you remember it, but it was like Stan Lee. He was trying to I want to find the next big thing. And so everybody was doing like these they cosplay the character that they created, and hopefully their persona character can eventually be in comics. I have no idea what happened to that character once the dude won, but they did a couple seasons of that. But one of the people who auditioned was this woman who had this character called Fat Mama, because she's a big, like, she's a big bone, elderly woman, and she's she's black. The thing about that kind of gets me, because like just the fitness and the healthiness, you can't, unless her superpower is to be super fast, just like her weight, it's just, I don't know, I don't want to just like stereotype, but there's a certain figure, even if you're big bone, a big bone female character or any bigger character, there's like expectations of your like physical look. Basically, my point is, I don't really care about the look of somebody. I'm not going to stress because Spider-Man takes off his shirt and like he's fit and quote unquote sexy. If a female character like Spider-Woman, like if she has some yams on her, that's pretty believable because she does the fighting equivalent of squats every time she goes out and fights somebody. She's swinging on walls, climbing up stuff, beating up guys. She would logically be fit just by just exercising and actually being active. You don't see a lot of like fat people in the military, not to like fat shame anybody, but like when you talk about a hero, unless their power can cover the fact that they're not fit, then I don't believe that. And I don't believe that we should be like, oh yeah, these are unrealistic people. Well, they're fictional. These fictional powers, fictional superhumans.
That sounds accurate to me. It makes a lot of sense.
And it's like, oh yeah, all they want out of like Kill la Kill is to be able to see half naked, women and all that. And I was like, when I was watching Kill la Kill, I was actually kind of like wondering why she had to be like dressed like this. I know it was like a parody. That's not my thought. I'm worried about the story. So I'm wondering, who are these fans that they're speaking for? That's like, this is like, I only watch this for like the cartoon breasts. I know they exist. I know they're out there, but is that really like who we're pandering to? Is that like who we focus on as our target audience?
Are you asking?
No, yeah, well, yeah, I'm kind of asking, yeah.
Because if we're gonna reference Kill la Kill, that wasn't even the point of Kill la Kill. When you watch Kill la Kill, and that's another thing. I don't like when people start to apply SJW onto other cultures, because they don't have the same mental blocks that we do or the same mental privileges that we do. It was about dress. It was about body. It was about superseding the expectations. The whole thing was about women superseding beauty as fan service and being strong as just women. So I thought that was cool that we get to have these sort of parody or satire.
She was literally fighting a wedding dress. Welcome to Basic Control, the show where we effectively break down various forms of media into relatable context, basically giving the control back to the viewers. My name is Aaron Ray, aka The Boss Ray, and on social media, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and ArtStation. As for my co-host, where can the people find you? Adrian.
At 80K lives, battling a horrific head cold.
Follow us on Facebook at Poppyguys Attack. Subscribe to us on YouTube at PG Attack. Download and stream on Audio Mac or SoundCloud. And email us at pgattack@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, hypotheticals, or advice you'd like to see addressed on the show. First, we'll get into our icebreakers, our coverage and opinions on current events. Moving then to our main topic today being belonging to the world. Finally spilling out into the hypothetical section where we let loose, crack open our creative sides and dig into the rabbit hole. How are you, my man?
I'm doing okay.
Big trailer drops. About 3 of them. So we're just gonna have a little quick look at the 3 big things that dropped. Based on these properties that most of these people might actually get wrong. And yeah, they're all based on a book. First off, we have Alita Battle Angel. Based on the anime, we have Spider-Man. Was it Into the Spider-Verse is he going to be facing the other Spider-Man in that movie, or are they teaming up against and then we have Jurassic World, which is based on Michael Crichton's official book, which is pretty dope. Quick thoughts on Alita Battle Angel.
Uncanny Valley, terrible graphics. Yeah, James Cameron needs to go carry his ass.
Sure. Yeah, I feel the same way. Don't like the Uncanny Valley situation going on. I know they're trying to make it stylized. They try to make it look like the anime or the manga, but it doesn't work for me. Having an entire CGI character isn't original whatsoever. He's not the first to do it, even though he'll try to claim that. Avatar was not the best series at all, but he'll try to claim that too. If you like Avatar, you might like Alita Battle Angel because James Cameron's involved. Blah 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 blah. I'm not a big James Cameron fan. I like Titanic.
I think it's James's arrogance that bothers me, and he's only a producer on this film. But
his name is heavily mentioned 3 occasions in this trailer to make people say James Cameron. Okay, now James Cameron's a part of the conversation. I don't care if you directed it or not. You're a part of the conversation because just your arrogance makes me like, all right, you're taking this property. It looks like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have it a CG character, fully CG character. It's not the first time I've seen it, but it's certainly not the best looking thing. She looks like the little girl from Splice. It's cool and all, but I'm not down for it. I'm not down to clown with it. I'll watch it. I dread watching it though, because I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hurt me in my soul. It's gonna touch me in a bad place.
Did you know this film was late because he was producing his Avatar sequels?
He's working on 5 Avatar sequels, and the first one was anyway. So he's got to chill out, and he's got to start bashing Wonder Woman and then start because he's like, oh yes, Sarah Connor's better than Wonder Woman. I'm like, where? But it's like, all right, cuz I mean, like I said, put your money where your mouth is. He's a female character in this one. Everybody's treating her like she's just the savior one, the Mary Sue. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, whatever. There's not much more I can say about it. It's kind of trash to me. I didn't see anything about it I liked, to be honest. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because it's unfair to go in with the expectation that it's going to be bad. You know what I'm saying? It's unfair. But for his case, I totally assume that it's trash.
That's fair.
Granted, there may be a lot of fans of the manga who have different opinions. They've been waiting for this for a long time. Just like if someone said Justice League, blah, 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 blah. I've probably been waiting for that for a while. I wait to see it myself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, if you're a fan of it, and let us know how you feel about it. But us, personally, we're moving on. We're moving. Spider-Man.
Wait. If it's Enter the Spider-Verse, this might be a trilogy. They might try to make this a trilogy.
Well, it's separate from the Marvel universe. It's only Sony, but people think that Sony gave up Spider-Man. Sony still owns Spider-Man, but they're letting Marvel handle the live-action version. The writers for the Sony group was like, well, if they're handling Spider-Man and we still have Spider-Man, let us make a Spider-Man outside of that, then show that we know how to make Spider-Man too. So, of course, the best way to do it, Miles Morales, and it also gives a platform to a black character in a largely produced franchise like this. It's pretty dope. I like seeing Miles on the thing. I'm not so sure about the animation yet. Looks kind of choppy, kind of stop motion, and that's not a bad word. Stop motion is not a bad word. I hope that it's an actual film, but who knows? It could be stop motion like Kubo on the two strings and be just, fine, be all right. It's unique in certain ways. We've never seen a black led superhero film of this kind.
This follows in the same vein of that Big Hero 6 that came out,
but this time from Sony, whose only success in animation was Hotel Transylvania.
Yay!
There's a sequel coming out. When they're on a boat now. In the sequel, so it's not
a boat. It's a Motel Transylvania.
Jesus. Also, I forgot to mention that Jessica Jones teaser dropped today.
Yesterday.
Yeah. It's nothing much. It's her running around with a camera, having this voiceover. It's nothing new. No images of the villain. You just see her helping this dude or kissing this dude. He's probably another It doesn't look as good as the first season because we don't get a sense of what she's up against yet. But I do see there's a lot of Spider-Man references in this. And she says, with great power comes great responsibility, and I like that.
Now, how do you think they should handle these next going forward? Like, I'm not too familiar with Brian Michael Bendis' writing of Jessica Jones except for the Alias series. But as far as I know, that's as much content that she has as a solo character.
I think she had another solo book that wasn't Alias. To be honest, she's better as a team character. And then her solos is like, how many stories can you really tell of Alias? I mean, but who knows? I hope that they can, surpass the Purple Man from the last season, because he's David Tennant was seen on set a couple of times. So I'm like, is he not dead? Is it flashbacks? Is this all Jessica Jones has to offer? The Purple Man? There's no other villain that she can face. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like season 2 of Jessica Jones, but I'm excited anyway because it's in this universe. I just come off the high of seeing the Punisher, and I think the Punisher is really dope. Those are my thoughts on Jessica Jones. Really, really, really quick.
I think that if they borrow from her other series, because there's a series called The Pulse that she was in, where it takes place after Alias, basically. She is a specialist consultant with journalists Ben Ulrich and Kat Farrell. If they take that...
Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Daredevil, please cover your ears. Ben Urich is dead, cuz. He died in season 1 of Daredevil. He was Black Ben Urich. Now, if they do Phil Urich, the Hobgoblin, that would be dope.
She's had 3 series. First was Alias, second was The Pulse, and the third one was Jessica Jones. So they do have enough material to borrow from. The Pulse ran for 14 issues. Jessica Jones series ran for 10 plus issues, 12. It's about making it interesting, though.
Your main goal is to top the villain from the last season. When you talk about Daredevil season 2, the villain was whack. Like, the villain of season 2 was whack. They relied so much on the Punisher early on that the only thing left was the hand, and the hand was whack. The Elektra thing was whack. So, I just hope Jessica Jones season 2 can hold its, just stand its ground. Jurassic World. I'm a big fan of the Jurassic Park franchise. Well, the first one, that's about it. I like the third one when I was a kid, and I only seen it a couple times, and I'm like, they brought back Alan. That's the only thing I like, and they have a couple funny moments with the phone and the Spinosaurus that I like. But other than that, every other movie has leaned really heavily on special effects, leaned really heavily on CGI and things like that. But the first movie was revolutionary for having animatronics and all that. And now that they are bringing back the idea of animatronics mixed with CGI and things like that, that's cool. However, there's one scene in the trailer of them sliding down a hill with a whole bunch of special effects and all that, and I'm like, all right, well, that's not cool. But what I've seen is the special features really got me feeling like, yeah, this is a good director, a new director, Jay Bayona, who has a good head on his shoulders. He's thinking about making it a little bit darker. I like the themes of conservation. So like looking at all of that and just the practical effects, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm down to clown with another one of these. However, to just finish out my little thoughts on it, I would say something about Owen and his character, Chris Pratt's character, it just, why would they go backwards and just redo the whole relationship with him and the girl? I think I would more progress that and just skip over the fact that, will they, won't they part, and just move on. Because I feel like you're just redoing the same beats from the last movie. But who knows? It's a new director, it's a new field.
Agreed. I think that's as much as I have about it too. I just want to see it. Maybe I do have a little bit more. I do want to see this if they can not modernize the original feeling, but if they can deliver a different is maybe not the right word either, but if they can deliver something that is exciting without being too overly generic about it. Because you did say that there's practical effects have returned.
You have a very grounded director in the director's seat now, so you're going to see something a little bit different than everybody else brought. Because the first Jurassic World was more adhering to, let's do the same thing in Jurassic Park and let's bring back that feeling. You got the dinosaur posing in the same way with the flag coming down. That happened in the first movie. He's literally in the same spot that he did it in the first movie. Looking forward to the sequel. I was underwhelmed by the first one, so you can go as crazy as you want in the sequel.
Sounds about right.
Belong to the world, do you? And all right, I'm gonna start this out because it's kind of interesting topic, and it's not about the base level analysis. It's more about what is the root of the problem and where it comes from. So let me introduce the problem. The death of adult film star August Ames, aka Mercedes Grabowski, this probably go unnoticed by most, because most people aren't really, they're not gonna put this on the news. They're not gonna, because then you would have to Google her, and they don't want to promote promiscuity. They don't want to promote the largest industry in Hollywood. The industry everybody knows about. Everybody denies and even shames the people who work in it, even though everybody consumes the culture, the whole thing. It's cool to like put it in the dark realm and but still have your hands on their lives. She committed suicide by hanging, and she left a suicide note. But this isn't really about her suicide or her struggles with depression. It's more about her place in society and like sort of how it led to that suicide. Because when you serve like a role like that in a medium where everybody considers it taboo and people treat you disposably, and that's a word that I'm gonna use a lot, disposable. because it says serve our needs, and then after that you're useless. It's like, you know, after there's a documentary I watched. It's called After Porn Ends, and basically what it's all about is like where these people go after they work, and even if it's for the time period that's usually like maximum 1 year, for the average is 1 year, and then the better ones can, you know, persist over time. But you know, just that short time of your life can actually follow you forever, and people will shame you for it. But once again, this is not about judging the pros or cons of you know, of the medium. It's more about what happened to her. And what happened is she refused to do a scene with a guy who was, you know, he's what they call a crossover artist. He does you know, stuff over on the gay side.
He works with both men and women.
You know, it's not that he's gay or it's not whatever, blah blah blah. Most of the time they're not, but
he just
it's just that
nigga.
It's right, but some people consider that you know, the fact that she didn't want to do it homophobic. But you know, once again, and to get to like the main point, it's her body. You know, it's her body. It's her choice to work with whoever. She doesn't belong to the world, and you know, and that's what I'm trying to analyze.
So, especially in pornography, we talk about the film industry and stuff like that, where you have a property or a character or something or a person. How much of this in your job do you separate from, I guess, your morals or your ethics? Right. How much is it until it's too late? Or how much is it until it's too far out of the realm of what the gatekeepers want?
When you just look at what they do, it's more like a like stunt work, really. Because from my understanding, every performer has a list of people that they can or cannot work with. They have a preferred list because some people are rude to them. Some people, you know, whatever. Because when it comes down to it, this is a physical thing, and it has a lot of consequences. So you want to control who you do these things with. Nobody has a gun to your head telling you you have to do it. It's still your choice. You can walk away at any time. And so if she didn't feel comfortable doing something with somebody who's, you know, a crossover artist, it's not really homophobia, it's her choice. And even if it is, it's still her choice. You know, it's sex, it's stunt work. You know, if somebody's hired to do stunts but says, hey man, no wire work, and then they get the set and it's wire work, you have the right to say, nah man, I don't do wire work. Even if you say, hey man, I like wire work, and then come to set and see wires, you still have the same right to say, no, I don't want to work with, you know, today, or I don't want to work for you or this company. Especially when it's physical. It's yeah, I mean, like I said, she willingly gave up work because she felt like she didn't want to do that. And then, you know, of course, I didn't really talk about this, but afterwards, she got harassed over and over and over. Like, it, even if you go to her pages and things now, you'll see comments of just her trying to deflect all the death threats from, you know, gay activists and all these other people. It's like, so like she's homophobic because she didn't want to have sex with someone. So it's no longer your choice. You have to do what we want you to do. It's like it's your choice, man. It's your body. You don't belong to the world, man.
And it's just a job. So, but the point I'm trying to ask too now is that she killed herself. It was her job to do this. Did she kill herself because of the threats? Did she kill herself because of the pressures? Like, what was it about?
Well, all right. To break down her death, and not to like just utterly define why she died, but just the factors into it. Here's one fact. One factor, she was suffering with depression, and she had confided in some of her friends and family. And I think she was recently on a radio show where she said that like she grew up with like abuse and that type of thing. And a lot of these girls are, and that's how they get into the industry. But like, you know, she currently had like a good head on her shoulder, so she was all right. But there were times when she would get brought down by depression. And somebody who's dealing with depression, who already thought about suicide and get to low places, when you have death threats and people telling you to kill yourself. I think one tweet was like, kill yourself with a cyanide pill and all that because you don't like gay people, or like you should go and have sex with who we tell you to have, saying like you don't, like you're not your own person. Those type of factors of like being a low person and then people telling you how low you are, and then you're also living under the pressure of being in a taboo society. So it's not like you can reach out and have some support. You're already, it's like already kicking people while they're already down.
Yeah.
Two ways. When you work in the industry, number one, you already suffer from that feeling, that you're already in a taboo, even if it's something you like to do, or, like I said, I'm not advocating or condemning it. I'm just saying, like, we put these people in a certain place in our society where we disregard them as people
because of their choice of employment, and that's a big detriment in American society. I think is looking down on people for what they enjoy. And like you even pointed out, even if they enjoy it, it's hard for porn stars to supersede that, especially once it's public information. It's hard for them to become public figures like a Jenna Jameson, or shit, she might be the only one.
And most of these people are either trying to break through or do whatever. And, not everybody can be Cardi B. I mean, I know she wasn't in pornography, but she was a stripper. And there's still that same taboo that she deals with today. It doesn't go away. It's one of those things where, like, because of your place in society, people don't see you as a human being. They see you as like almost like a piece of meat or a toy or a property that they can control, and they expect something from you. The word I'm looking for is objectification, and we treat people like objects, or treat people like they're disposable, like we can just throw them away at any time and that their lives don't matter. And she did. She threw her life away.
So in that, how do you think it's a public, the way the public handles this, or do you think that it's in the individual person?
I think it's a combination of both. Like I said, this is not really about her suicide. We already discussed that on our show, but it's more about what is the society role in this and why we treat people that way. And like, it's not, and like I said, I don't want to just confine it to, this, because people are like, well, I don't enjoy pornography. First of all, you lying. But then, like, it's when you can apply this to anything, because fans feel weird entitlement to people's lives or a property, and you got to live this way, live that way, do this for me, do that for me. And, you can't refuse because that's your job. It's like how when these women, they get hit on, it's like, oh, wow, you work in the sex industry. You have to have sex because you do this for a living. You have sex for a living. What's one more person? I'm not getting paid. Well, I have money. And they start sending them money. Hey, if I give you $600 in a PayPal, would you send me X amount of pics or X amount of videos, or just come to my hotel and do this for like a week? And we're like, no, like I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they think they're entitled to that. And it's not, like I said, it's not just that, it's writing. If I'm into writing a character and he's not gay, but for some reason a fan might see him as gay, or like the Sulu thing. It's fine if he's gay, but don't get mad when I say he's not. And there's like, oh, you hate gay people and your character should be gay. I'm like, well, he's not though. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. It's this weird entitlement. It's like they believe that the things no longer belong to you. Like, they belong to the world. Like, they're up in the air.
I was gonna ask too. I'm glad you said that. Do you think that we are entering a society, a cultural point in our society where people are wishing to be placated?
Go deeper.
So, yeah, if I can expound on that, the whole uprising of SJW behavior and saying, well, hey, your character should be this, or you're a porn star, you should do this for me, or you're posting your body on social media, you should do this. And if you don't do it, you're fucked up. And I'm asking, are we en masse entering a point where people are wishing that the world acquiesced to them? Very self-centered.
Observably, because of television and the aid of being able to go back and look at things, I'd say we've been this way since at least the 70s, and not so much in the 60s because we had bigger things to worry about. But like starting around the 70s, people started to feel like, oh, you're Michael Jackson, you have to be this way or that way or whatever. Oh, you're a politician, you have to be this way, that way or whatever. And you act, quote unquote, out of character. Then they get mad at you. You only sing. You just be a singer. Or you're an actor. Just act because that's what we want from you. We don't want to hear your singing ability. And it's not even, these are simple examples, but there are way more complex, rabbit holes that people expect out of, people these days, or a property, or just like consciously. I think it's more of an unconscious thing in our culture. Because, we have, if we can take a second to talk about rape culture, I know people don't want to hear about rape culture, but like if we take a second to think about how we've systematically objectified an entire group of people. If you look at women and then you take sex off the table, and then you look at, all right, how is society aided for them if you take off the ability to like get in a relationship with them, or blah 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 X, Y, and Z. If you take all that off the table, how is society structured around that? Even when you look at television and all that being, and I hate to support the whole rape culture thing because I think it is a bigger discussion. But when you look at it from a rape culture perspective, you look at how we handle women in our media and all that, and sexualize and over sexualize and blah 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 and this and that and third, and what people absorb. Even if you look at women themselves and how they've started to objectify other women because of the society it's all trickling down to men and women equally. So the things that men are like, getting indoctrinated to, oh, this is what women, blah, 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 because of society or the rape culture, real or not, is trickling down to us. Women are getting the same information. And not to tie, I don't want to make it seem like it's, oh, well, this, it's not, none of this has any negative connotation. That's not what I'm trying to get across.
What do we do to actually create a society that, how do you put it? I guess a society that is actually supportive of them.
Well, to kick off a little bit into our hypothetical, if we start there, I once watched a film called Cloud Atlas. You've seen Cloud Atlas, I think.
Yes.
I don't know if you caught that one. It's a weird movie, but they have this race of human beings that they treat like cattle. And I think I could have sworn they're used for sexual purposes, but they're also eaten. Like the food that they eat themselves. They're ground down and then fed to themselves when they're done with them. And yeah, almost like that. So they're used, enslaved, and then fed back to themselves. And that's like for me, I think that's the epitome of a disposable culture. That's the epitome of the highest level of disposability, is that you want them to serve you, and then when they're done, just be gone with you, and like we'll just eat you, or like we'll just move on. And I feel like we have to move away from the idea of people are disposable and start to think about, all right, how can we uncensor, how can we break the taboos of our society in order to bring people more, or rather less being, how can we make people less shocked? How can we make people feel like people matter, feel like they mean something? I look at France and I look at overseas. They have a issue with our obsession with violence on television. We have a lot of violence on television, but we've kind of leaned a little back a little bit. But our thing was that we censored a lot of, sexual stuff, and then we have this taboo industry that is the most popular in the entire world. It's the most lucrative industry in the entire world. But we censor that. We put that in a corner, and then these people are not allowed to live. They don't have lives. They're enslaved to our desires. But, pastors and all these people would deny these people. But behind closed doors, they're acceptable, and they're disposable because of that fact, because that we have to deny them. And I think I guess my steps forward to the non-disposability is like treat them like people, bring them out of the darkness, and just start interacting with them. Something I could say works is when we have them on, podcasts and radio shows, and bring them into the public forum, and have these conversations with them, and then also just not exclude them from being people, and then having some type of ethics and code to dealing with human beings as people. There's that show No Jumper, and he interviews what's her name, Riley Reid. She's like an actress in that world, and she's cool, she's funny, and she's an entire human being, and it's not a surprise that she's a human being, but it's more of a surprise that, wow, somebody was finally given a platform to just be funny, and that's all you have to do is just be funny and just talk about real stuff, and not have to be treated like you're, oh yeah, let me just take care of myself, and then when I'm done, just leave type situation, or after the show, can you do this, that, and the third for me? Just treat her like a human being, like a person. Every question doesn't have to be, sexually charged. Dan Harmon from Harmontown on his podcast, he interviewed Riley Reid as well. You know what I'm saying? I think we just need more of that, more just treating people like people because you're interested in their personality, you're interested in them being people, not interested in getting something out of them.
So then that person also must have to find a ways out of their own darkness. I remember you brought up Cloud Atlas, and they were eating people, and they talked in that movie about fabricants and shit like that. As you can keep people, you have one half of society who thinks that they're better for using these people who are basically servants. That's what I was going to ask about the individual person. If a male decides to be a porn star, do you think that his societal troubles or the way he's looked at is differently, especially if he does both, if he acts with men and women?
I'm glad you brought this up too, because the flip side of this conversation is the dude who may or may not be gay, may not, whatever his decisions that led him to doing this role, this what I call stunt work, is what I equate it to. He has an even stronger taboo, even within being in, the thing. Okay, yeah, I talked to the wrong person. Maybe he was stripping. Maybe he was doing some modeling or something. Say, hey, I'll pay you such and such amount of money. I know you need some money. Do this, that, and the third, and gets caught up in the industry. However it happened, if he likes it, if he doesn't like it, blah, 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 this, that, and the third, doesn't matter. Fact is, he's a dude doing crossover work. And the thing is, he is even more looked down on because he can't operate in the outcast realm. So I'm not shedding darkness on that person. I'm just saying she has the right to not work with you, but at the same time, you have more of a responsibility to know the consequences of that. You know what I'm saying? Like if he knew going in that most, and it's not just her, it's most people in that industry don't want crossover people. And then if you get caught in the crossover work, then now you're a stain even more than everybody else. I wouldn't know what to tell that man who's caught in between that in that example. I can't really think of an equivalent for, some of the other examples that we brought up of different industries. But in that specific example, like a man caught in that work is kind of hard. I think, and after that documentary that I watched, they brought up the men trying to, not being able to talk to certain people, not being able to go anywhere. They get a lot of good work when they work with women because there's less men in the industry. So they get a lot more work, but it's a lot harder for them to get jobs. It's a lot harder for them to not fall into that trap. And their lives afterward are even more stained because you're not wanted in the porn industry, and you're not wanted in society. Do I have a way for him to get out of that? And I think this encompasses both halves of this. We got to shed our entitlement over people. Like, we have this weird entitlement over people's lives. You can't force nobody to be nothing that you don't want them to be. So if she don't want to handle nobody wants to work with a crossover person, you should know that most people don't want to work with crossover people. But if you want to do crossover stuff, you gotta be willing to understand that it's still their choice not to work with that person. However, people have been amplified by just this feeling. I guess the new internet platform of just feeling like they have the right to say anything to anyone at any time, and they're always right, and they have to, conform the world to whatever they believe it to be.
That's fair. But now we get into the point where you're like, everywhere you go, you're going to be potentially condemned for something. So I guess the only way out of that is to just live your life anyway.
The most famous person who's been in this industry and has worked, I think, crossover and worked in other places and things like that was Ron Jeremy. And, he's able to be even more of a crossover because he's a comedian. He's worked in mainstream films, mainstream television shows. He's personable. Most of the people aren't really regarding him in the same taboo. Like, you would quicker have a nice luncheon or chilling with Ron Jeremy than you would with anybody else in that scheme of things. I think more of it is shedding entitlement, but also bridging the gap between those people and just society. If you just bring them down just a little bit on that level and just see more of the realness, and then we have real conversations with people, I think it's going to go well. Well, at least in theory, I think.
And I've been trying to figure out exactly what that means.
It's based on the idea of like just consuming females. It's like you don't really have a place in our society. It's just sex driven. Just a sex driven society. Everything is phallic. Everything is driven to just force people to confront each other in a sexual way. The music is on a certain way to make men feel like they own women, blah blah blah. A lot of people accuse film and the adult industry and accuse rap music of having a strong contribution to making rape culture stronger.
I see. Because when I hear people put culture in anything, I instantly think cult or massive thought in agreement to a certain outlook. So that word has been kind of missed on me for a while because I never understood it.
Yeah, it's mostly just trivializing the idea of rape or just sexual rights. This one is argued a lot more because it's very subliminal. We can't truly prove it throughout, without a doubt that this is what we go through, but we see all of these cases that hint towards this theory. It's more of a theory of how we have broken down the other sex.
There are other cultures that don't view or vilify sex the way we do.
like they'll just have like a naked people on your natural television, and like it doesn't matter because it's not, we haven't over sexualized it to the point where we have to tell little people to cover up because I'm sexually aroused to that person. Like, what? Chill out. Like, what's the question is what's wrong with you, not what's wrong with the naked person.
Where do we go from here with that then? Is it the imagery? Is it media itself? Because we started this with the superhero and the portrayal of women and men in these sort of fantasy settings. Is it changing those tropes? Is it subverting them? Is it just informing little Billy that it's not okay to look at these things a certain way?
Honestly, when it all comes down to it, I keep coming back to the idea that maybe we're just too far gone to change what's already there. Because like I said, this is probably one of the most subliminal things in our society. It's just, maybe it might be way too pervasive. That's why you can get that label, like, you know, culture. You can find all these examples. You could turn anything into a problem. That's why we have so many SJW groups. We have so many, you know, everything's an issue to somebody. So I don't think it's easy to just have this one rule to just, you know, one ring to rule them all. But we really need to have more conversations about it, to find an answer, to be able to educate people. And I think we got to stop hiding the industry in a way that's being more damaging to them and their psychological and their you know, daily lives. Like, you know, a mother of three, she may, you know, perform, you know, in that industry, you know, 6 hours, you know, every 2 months, and then that's it. But that, like, you know, that's the job. That's what she chose to do. Judging the job aside, judging anything aside, all judgment aside, you really have to focus on, can we get past that and treat them like a human being? Can we just be like, all right, that's what she does for a living. We can invite her to the, you know, the what do you call it, PTA. We can invite her to the groups and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, what do you do? Oh, I work in the adult industry. Blah blah blah. She don't have to say that she takes, like, you know, X to the face and all this and all that. She doesn't have to describe all that. Just the opposite of that, just being sexually charged or sexually, you know, averse. Then you get these, your polar opposites. So the way society has handled it so far is to hide it. And I think doing the opposite of not making it a super taboo and just saying, all right, this is something people do. And even explaining to children, yeah, it's something this person has chosen to do. It's like I said, it's like stunt work. People enjoy it and they put it to the dark. Yeah, it's stunt
work. We're gonna
work.
call it stunt work from now on. I like that.
It's not real. It's not what people do in real life. You don't have to pose a certain way. You don't have to do all that. And then when you do, some people feel uncomfortable, or some people that's how they learn how to do stuff, and some people that's how they feel like they should do stuff. And you know, however you feel about it, it's, you know, whether it belongs in society or not, you got to stop trying to throw people away. Like, because, you know, I look at this girl and I'm like, all right, like, there's no reason why she should have killed herself. There's people in high school who get less, you know, death threats. They'll get death threats, but they'll kill themselves in high school. These girls in high school feeling like, oh yeah, this, that, and the third. That's just, and then you see someone on this level where society is turning their back on you. It's like the scarlet letter all over again.
We have to get to a point where conversation is normal. And career day, when you go, just like a doctor should show up, Billy's mom, who's an ex-stunt worker, should be able to show up too, and maybe not give details, but this is a world that these people that we live in, and hiding it is the anti.
Yeah, it's like, are we using children as a scapegoat for treating people like trash? Like, oh yeah, but think about the children. You know, it's like, oh, we can't tell the children what you do, like because you're the trash of society. They can't know what you do for us under the table, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels really to me like 7 Years a Slave, when Lupita Nyong'o character was getting raped by the master, and then like in public he would pretend like he hated her, and he would whip her extra hard and all this, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. It feels like that, but on a more industrial scale. Now it's marketable, you know. Now it's cool to tell your kids that they're the trash of society, and they she doesn't have a reputable job, blah 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 blah, you know, or him or her or Shem or whatever. Just like they're the dregs of society, and you can't, you know. And I don't want to make that the only example, but yeah, it's the strongest example of people feeling like you're just disposable. I don't agree with exposing it too hard, because everybody has the right to conceal whatever information they want from their children. That's their children. Right. However, we have to open it up a little bit more so they can have a place in society that isn't underneath our boots.
I agree with that totally. Killed it.
Yeah, but Cloud Atlas, yo, just
checking it out.
That's where I don't want to go. You know, that if we let this go on, and you know, The Weeknd has that song. If you ever have you seen the video for "You Belong to the World" from the Kiss album? Oh, dude, you got to see it. It has like this Japanese girl. The premise is like this Japanese girl and these people, where she's almost like treated like a god, but like it's like you gotta watch it, because it explains this entire topic. Like that song, that's why this whole episode is based off that song. It's just because, you know, when you work in a certain degree, or even if you're not working in that industry, if you're just a female, some people think that you belong to them, that you belong to the world, that you have no purpose, you're disposable. And it's not even, like I said, I don't even want to limit it to this industry, you know. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff you can apply this to, where, you know, they treat you like the dreg of society, or not even just that, or just feel like they have entitlement or ownership over your entire being, or your entire character, or the entire idea, and everything outside of that is null and void. We can't do that. We can't, you know, we can't keep putting people in a box. But yeah, check out The Weeknd's video, Belong to the World. Check out Cloud Atlas, so you can like get a visual representation of our ideas that we put forth, and it's, I guess, a more entertaining way. If I don't know if this conversation was boring or not, but like, yeah,
it's an important one to have.
That was Basic Control, the show where we effectively break down various forms of media into relatable context, basically giving the control back to the viewers. My name is Aaron Ray, aka The Boss Ray, on social media. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and ArtStation. As for my co-host, where can people find you?
At 80K Lives, dealing with this bum-ass cold.
Follow us on Facebook at Poppy Guys Attack. Subscribe to us on YouTube at PG Attack, or email us at pgattack@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, hypotheticals, or advice you will see addressed on the show. Stop trying to rape your neighbor. Stop trying to touch your stuff. Stop trying to rape your neighbor. Stop. If people want to see something funny, watch Tracy Ellis Ross. She does this sketch on it's a real quick sketch on Jimmy Kimmel. She does it. It's called The Handsy Man. It's about sexual assault in the workplace. If you got triggered by a conversation, leave a comment. We love to have discourse. We love to talk about these things. I don't know if you like to yell, but like I'll type something back at you.
All caps.
No spaces.